Tales of Kandris.
Before Ayandi began her daily journey, Onres and Bumper were already setting a demanding pace. Now that he was close to his objective, he was becoming impatient, but he repressed the urge to rush. While he wanted to conduct his business quickly, injury to himself or his savvy was unnecessary. Still, they were making good time. He kept the mountains to his left, enjoying the scenery as he walked. The White Spines formed an almost perfect shelter from much of the snow in the region, another of White Peak's advantages. Foraging was good as well. The country was very picturesque. If he were an artist, he'd be tempted to draw. Large chimneys of dirt and rock occasionally dotted the landscape. Termites, heat-generating insects longer than a man's hand, used these as vents for their gigantic colonies beneath the ground. Their constant motion helped to keep the soil from freezing completely. The land here yielded many useful crops, thanks to the locals' know-how. It was a good place to start a family if a man had the right woman. Onres's face grew determined. Once Gwenfer was well, that would be a consideration. After taking a much-needed rest, he crested a foothill. From his vantage, he could just make out the first few trees of the shield pines. He nodded in satisfaction. Soon, he thought, making his way towards the forest. Once he set foot fully within the shaded canopy, Onres felt eyes watching him. There were the regular sounds of the forest, wind sweeping through the leaves, creatures darting all about. But his senses could detect an awareness of his presence here. Whoever was watching wasn't close enough to be easily identified, but pervasive enough to be perceived. He shrugged mentally. It was to be expected. Feigning ignorance, he set about looking for a good camping spot. To do what was needed, being fully rested was essential. A perfect spot soon presented itself with little effort. It was a clearing where a massive tree had fallen. Its trunk split in 3 pieces during the fall, creating a space large enough for several groups to rest if needed. There was plenty for Bumper to eat and protection from the wind. Within a few moments, he'd gotten a cozy fire going and prepared his dinner. Having secured the savvy, he crawled into his tent and went to sleep. More than bright sunlight greeted Onres when he awoke. He had just got out of his tent for a good stretch when something zipped past his ear. A thin, dark wooden shaft shivered in the ground a few paces ahead of him. Keeping his hands above his head, he turned around slowly. Dark forms emerged out of the tree cover. They were almost as tall as him, but built slender, filled with lithe strength. He raised his gaze to the one who shot the arrow. Perched atop a thick tree branch was a male Alvarni. Another arrow was already strung and aimed directly at the man's chest, easily a kill shot.
"You're later than I expected."
Onres greeted with a smirk.
"Care for some breakfast?"
He gave the sign for open thought, hoping to start a dialogue.
"Don't bother,"
the Alvarni said in tradespeak. He dropped from his perch and smoothly landed. His bow was already over his shoulder. Arrow returned to its home while he approached. He let out a slow whistle.
"Gotta say I'm impressed, Homus,"
the Alvarni began, a few steps away from the man.
"Takes a large set of stones for a guy to make jokes with arrows ready to fill his ribcage."
The Alvarni tongue is natively very straightforward and direct. Hearing that no-nonsense tone in Sunwood's lingua franca was a bit disconcerting. Onres kept his composure despite the threat. His bravado didn't falter.
"Better to face death standing than cowering."
"We got us a real strong heart here,"
the Alvarni quipped as he stepped towards Onres. Voices chuckled out of eyesight. The Alvarni looked directly in the man's face now. His amber eyes bored right into his storm grays.
"You're still just compost at the end."
"A common fate shared by all."
Onres returned, then narrowed his eyes.
"Eventually."
That last remark faded into an uncomfortable silence. The two just stared at each other. Clearly, the Alvarni was testing the man in some way only known to his kind. Finally, he nodded approvingly, and a smirk broke the hard set of his face.
What's your name, round ear?
Onres Athanon.
Onres answered.
Call me Sharp Sap.
The Alvarni said, inviting the man over to a large stone not far from his tent.
Want to know what brought us out here, Onres?
Aside from the fact I've never been here before,
Onres replied, sitting down. Bumper was grazing not far away, seemingly unconcerned by the new guests.
One of our, what you folks call, mind workers, had a vision of a dark-haired homus with blue fire in his eyes, stalking the wood in search of the lost.
Sharp Sap sat next to him.
Any idea what that means?
Onres let out a breath.
I am in truth looking for something precious that I lost.
He walked to his tent and grabbed his coat, placing his hand in the topmost inner pocket. Once he found what he needed, he focused his thoughts. Blue light shone from his eyes. He saw the trail of light that led to Gwenfer leading off to the east. Judging by the surprised gasps, the Alvarni noticed as well. He turned back to Sharp Sap.
In regard to the blue fire in his eyes,
He said, addressing those gathered.
It's a result of me using my reclaimer powers.
Sharp Sap let out another whistle, clearly impressed. He rose to his feet. One of his companions ran over to him and whispered in his ear. He nodded once, whispered something in return, and walked over to Onres.
Got some news for you, bud. Pack your gear and we'll take a walk.
After a few brief moments, Onres and Bumper joined Sharp Sap and his companions walking through the woods. The path they were taking also headed east, deeper into the pines, almost along the same path as the light trail.
We've been dealing with some trouble for quite a bit.
Sharp Sap told him while they walked.
Some kind of monster or whatever's been marching through the forest, knocking down trees and disturbing the local wildlife. Remember where we picked you up? That was that thing's handiwork.
Onres's brow rose when he heard that.
I see.
Yep.
The Alvarni continued.
Tried to stop it, but nothing we threw at it even registered.
He turned his amber gaze back to the man.
I got a feeling we're after the same thing, bud.
Onres nodded, putting the pieces together. They broke the tree cover and entered into an even bigger clearing, this time full of other Alvarni males readying for a battle. Far off to one side stood one Alvarni more grim-faced than the others. Where most of the woodsfolk were jovially mischievous, he seemed more dour and taciturn. His hair was a combination of black and white, and he wore a dark cloak. Sharp Sap spotted him in the crowd and shouted,
Cacho arras, Marntano.
This seemed to have caught his attention, because he walked in their direction. The other Alvarni gave him a respectful but wide berth. Sharp Sap nodded as the other approached. The newcomer asked something in accented Alvarni. Sharp Sap responded, nodding in Onres's direction. The newcomer turned to face him.
You ain't getting my name, homus,
He said, eyes narrowed.
but I'll tell you why I'm here. My cousins here believe what you're looking for is causing a heap of problems. My partner and I are aiming to fix them.
Your partner?
Onres was confused.
I only see you standing here.
The Alvarni threw back his cloak, revealing his left arm. The entire forearm was wrapped in dark metal and flame. He thrusted the gauntleted arm out to his side. Many of the Alvarni in the area scrambled away as if attacked. His hand pointed downward while his fingers made a clawing motion. An ember about the size of his palm fell to the ground. No sooner had the spark died away, a tower of flame soared into the sky. A hungry, mournful howl rose from the conflagration as it began to take shape. The fires coalesced into a vaguely canine form. A strange mix of flame and fur danced along its dreadful physique. Talons like burning obsidian dug deep into the ground, releasing streams of steam. A powerful tail fanned sparks all around. Eyes burned with a baleful fury above a snout wreathed in fire.
My partner.
The Alvarni repeated as it walked over to him, nuzzling his gauntleted hand.
Listen up, round ear. Whatever attachment you got to whatever's hurt my kin don't matter to me. We're here to do our job and go home.
He walked over to look Onres in the face. his fiery companion stalking quietly behind him.
Here's the deal.
The Alvarni smirked. He turned and pointed off into the distance.
A short walk away is what we all came here for. You got till the fall of Challithrow to get this handled.
He turned back, but this time with a grim smile that matched the hardness of his eyes.
If by then ye ain't got your business settled, my partner and I take it from there. And by the time we're done, it'll be a pile of slush.
Onres looked between the Alvarni and the fiery menace behind him. Just standing a few paces away, he could feel the heat radiating off of its massive body. He had no doubt that if they attacked, little would be left standing that wasn't horribly burned. He looked to Sharpsap, who gave him a helpless shrug of his shoulders and then lifted his eyes to the sky. Ayandi had already passed the sun and was poised to disappear into the west soon. Time was slipping away. He walked to Bumper, who was tethered to a tree,
I need your help, boy.
looking the Savanilk in his eyes.
Can I count on you?
For a brief moment, the buck stared at the man, as if considering the weight of his words. He looked at the burning beast in the distance. His hooves shuffled nervously. Then he looked back at Onres. He leaned his head and pushed his snout against his face.
Thank you.
Onres rubbed Bumper's snout. He removed the packs and supplies off his flanks. Speed would be what was needed. He took his lead and walked in the direction the grim-faced Alvarni indicated earlier. As they walked past, the Alvarni's hard features softened slightly.
For what it's worth, good luck.
Onres nodded and continued onward, hopeful and determined. The duo swiftly walked along animal trails and sparse paths as the green moon marched its way westward. Onres pushed on as fast as he dared, needing to get there as fast and sensible as possible. They forded a small river carefully. One misstep could twist an ankle or break a leg. Finally, he came upon a trail, or what could be better defined as wake. Several trees had been uprooted. Rocks were either smashed or pushed aside. Whatever fauna had lived in this area was long gone. Now that an obvious swathe of destruction could be followed, he picked up the pace. The Alvarni weren't lying about the devastation being caused. Here and there, Onres could see smears of blood as he hurried. He reached into his pocket for the golden hairpin and concentrated. The icy white light was intensifying the closer he got. It wasn't until they entered a large clearing that he saw her. He almost dropped to his knees, unable to believe what he was seeing. He whispered her name through trembling lips.
Gwenfer?
The thing that housed his beloved's consciousness, her very soul, turned to face him. Monstrosity was the only correct word to describe what was before him. It was a crude, rude amalgam of ice and frost, put together in some evil parody of humanity. There were no eyes, nose, no face at all even. Only a pulsating, icy blue glow danced within what could be a torso.
Gwenfer!
He shouted, taking a few steps forward. His hands and his eyes began to fill with bluish-white light.
It's me, Gwenfer. I'm here to help you.
The icy abomination lumbered slowly towards him, raising a massive, club-like limb. Onres moved closer as well, his hands stretched outwards.
Yes, that's right. I'm here to take you back home.
He walked on, heedless of the possible danger. The construct raised its club and brought it down faster than he anticipated. He was suddenly knocked aside and sent sliding across the ground. He looked up from his prone position to see what happened. Bumper had caught the construct's club in his antlered rack. The Savi had saved him from being crushed at the last moment. The mighty Savanilk threw his head to the side, dislodging the clumsy limb from his rack. Pivoting on his strong forelimbs, he shot out his hind feet in a powerful kick. The icy construct, not made for grace, tumbled unceremoniously to the ground in a heap. As he rose to his feet, Onres noticed something on the construct's underside. In the place where its hip and waist would be were a series of glowing symbols in a circle. The Reclaimer recognized them as the 7 sigils of subjugation, a powerful work that bound whatever was marked with them into servitude. Strangely, only 6 of the 7 were visible. The 7th and most important Master Sigil was gone. Without it, the construct was masterless, and out of control. Bumper ran over to him and the man jumped onto his back, patting the savvy thankfully. He looked up at the sky to see Chalitthrow making its downward path. He would need to act quickly. His eyes reignited in bluish-white fire while the construct clumsily got back to its feet. The reclaimer patted his savvy on the neck one more time.
Okay, boy.
He said, eyes burning with determination.
Let's get to work.
If you enjoyed the content, please support this channel by liking, subscribing, and ringing the notification bell for more. Thank you.